Hey there, Grateful Gang. How is everybody tonight? I'm Lauren Blanchard-Zaleski, and for those of you that have been with us before, you know that I'm the host of this show, which is called Gratefully Living the Chronic Life. I'm also the founder and admin of the group Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. And the purpose of our group and this show on Thursday evenings in my time is just to kind of figure out better ways to live our lives, really difficult lives. And it applies to people living with chronic pain and illness, but it also applies to many other people. This episode tonight definitely applies to, it can apply to anybody, you'll see. Our episode, we're at episode 23 tonight, which is very hard to believe. We're in October now. So the year is kind of slipping by. I don't know if I should say that it's been quick. It's been interesting, right? So that interesting part that is part of what we're going to talk about tonight. The topic is called Striving and Thriving, but not just surviving. That's kind of, it's a little pet peeve of mine when, people say, you ask them how they are and they're like, I'm surviving. And that's great, of course, but wouldn't you rather be thriving than just surviving? Sometimes it's easier than others to be able to do that. And we're going to talk about some ideas tonight. I hope you all come in with your comments, your questions. We've got some comments here already. Let's see. Okay, it looks like our problems from last week are solved. Hi, Linda. Glad you could be with us. Thank you. Julie is here. Hi, everyone. Sandra Carpenter's here. Hello. It's been a while, Sandra. For those of you that haven't been here ever, or if you haven't been here, or if you haven't been here in a while, you need to give StreamYard, which is this software. You have to give them permission to use your picture and your name. So as long as you do that, it looks like it's working just fine. Last week it was not. Everybody was just coming up as Facebook user. And one of the lovely ladies that made the opening are my nieces, Miss Campbell, who I call Soupy because of Campbell Soup. Hey, Aunt Lauren, super excited to watch this week. Thank you, Soupy. I'm excited that you're here. And Margaret's here. Margaret DeCarica Morris. Hi. Hi there. Glad you could be here. Linda Canalicchio. Hi, Lauren. Hi there. Glad you could be here. Oh, and Kathy Johnston, who I saw at Flush the Format yesterday. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. The topic tonight is, I felt it's very pertinent. It's pertinent for me personally, but I have a feeling it's probably pertinent for many of you as well. Oh, look, Pat's here. Pat, FYI Lisa. Not sure what that means, but hi, Pat. Glad you're here. Karen Hilliard's here. Hi. Heidi Presser. Yes, you can see your name, Heidi. And Karen says she's here. That's great. Everybody's here. So anyway, back to the topic. Striving and thriving, not just surviving. These are really, really difficult times. And by saying that, it's quite the understatement when you say there's so much going on right now. I don't talk politics, but I don't even need to. I can just put that out there that, the stress from all of that's going on in the United States and really the world is causing a lot of strain on people personally, strain with their families, disagreeing on things like that. And just, people have told me that they're embarrassed and all of that stuff. And, I can't say that I blame them. I mean, it's strange times. We've got the pandemic, we've got politics. Many of you who are here tonight live with chronic pain and illness, or maybe you live with emotional pain and illness, or physical and emotional. It really, the way it affects us, emotional pain and physical pain, is very much the same. That's why I years ago stopped taking only people with chronic physical pain and started taking people, with anxiety, depression, because a lot of us too with chronic physical pain have those items too. Pat says, hi, tag my sister-in-law. Great, Pat. Glad you're here. And we've got Facebook user says, hi, Lauren. Hi there. And Karen, this is actually a good tip that I was going to talk about a little bit later. But I want this show during this hour that we're going to be together. I only have one question really that I want to ask you guys, and you can answer it once, you can answer it 10 times, but I'll show you the question that that I came up with for today, which is, how are you best able to get out of the darkness? And, darkness can mean a lot of things, different things to different people. We've got, extreme worry. Worry and fear are just killers of us. But anyway, getting back to Karen, she said this at Flush the Format yesterday, that she had stopped. Oops, where'd she go? She'd stopped watching the news. And I think that's very, very smart for certain people. If you can't take it, then certainly don't watch, because it certainly doesn't make you feel good for most people. Campbell says, I find it hard to say striving and thriving when I could always be being better, kinder, and happier. I also feel guilty when I am upset about my life, because I know that lots of people have it a lot worse than me. Oh, soups. Well, with striving, if you think about that word, striving, we're all works in progress, right? So you're striving to be better, and you can always strive to be better. You'll never get to the best, because there is no such thing, but you can always be better. So maybe thinking about it like that might make saying striving and thriving, both of those words, really just striving. Striving is you're seeking it, right? And thriving means you're doing well with it. Campbell, this is my best friend from college, Caddy. Oh my God, Campbell. Scabs, this girl gets it. She gets our stuff. She's watched like 3 times. She made my opening and she gets our stuff. I know. She's pretty amazing. So before I get to some of these other answers, and I can always tell that that they're good answers that you guys are putting in. I wanted to get back to like what it could be causing us to be in this darkness. For those of us with chronic emotional or physical pain, there's that just by itself, right? There's living with chronic emotional and physical pain. Sometimes it's easier than others, right? I don't know how that popped up there. Must have been intentional. Now, Lauren, you look so cute. Thank you, Scabula. Oh, speaking of how I look, I didn't introduce my t-shirt yet this week. Silly me. It says thankful and grateful. And I have no idea where I got it. And it's relatively new. If you sent it to me, thank you. I don't remember where I got it. That's terrible. I am going through some physical things right now, hence the debacle that happened last week. My brain just stopped working. With Judith Orloff was wonderful, but I was like an hour off on my timing, which explains why we didn't start, or why we started early, why we ended early, and why I was slurring my words and stuff. So I apologize about last week, but I did manage to get together a 20-minute segment where Judith gave some wonderful, wonderful ideas and things from her book, Thriving as an Empath, which kind of matches my shirt. I'm going to read a little bit from it tonight, but Judith, thank you for being here last week. It was a real pleasure. And thank you for dealing with my my silly wackiness. So the pandemic obviously is people stressed out. I mean, it's been going on a long time. When it started, none of us really knew. None of us knew. Nobody knew how long it was going to last. I thought that I always used to think that a pandemic like they used to have in the old days could not happen in my lifetime. I've always pictured it as like, something that happened in the 1800s and stuff. Wrong, very wrong. And now we've been, stuck in our homes a lot. Some of us are now working from home. My husband works from home now, which I actually love. I know some people, it's like you're interfering with my space, but I love having them work home. But that's stressful. I met a member. I don't want to say her name because I'm not sure if she wants it out there, but it flushed the format yesterday. We had a newish member come, and she is new to the group and raises 3 young children. And now she's got to be their teacher. Right before the pandemic came on, about 2 weeks, she had to leave her job because of her sickness. And now she's, dealing with 3 young kids and the illness and maybe not having the right diagnosis. And I was just blown away by her strength. I know she didn't see it, but I saw it. The rest of us that were all there at Flush the Format saw it. So there's that. Sometimes, being that close to the family doesn't work out so well. If you have young kids, they might be driving you nuts. And that's just natural. Like all that closeness is just not normally that natural for people in our day and age. And so things can get rough around the edges. Maybe you've gotten used to it by now. And if you have, that's great. I've got my daughter living with us. She's an actress, and there's nothing going on with acting Broadway right now. So she's actually nannying for a couple of cute kids who I met today. And she's, making the best of her situation, which basically that's what this show and my group is about. It's making the best of our situation. It's striving and thriving, not just surviving. Right, Campbell? All right, what else we have to hear? Heidi says, how do I get out of the darkness? You pray, spend time outdoors, vent to a friend. Great. Thank you, Heidi. And Facebook user says, I avoid the news and as much drama as possible. I just try to be kind to everyone. Beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, the news is a really good one. If that stresses you out, and I don't know many humans who wouldn't get stressed out by it. Avoiding it sometimes would be a really smart move. Let me take a couple more. Margaret says, I get outside in nature and I enjoy safe time outside with care and the twins when they have time to join me. I live in the moment and tune out the world when I can. Well, I'll tell you, Margaret, you just came up with every single tip that I have written down here. Living in the moment, tune out the world. That's awesome. Thank you. Sandra says meditation, prayer, and call a friend. Karen loves my t-shirt. Okay, I'll take some. Oh, hang on. I knew somebody was going to snag me on that. Mary, of course it's you. No apologies necessary. I assume you're talking about last week's episode. I'm not really apologizing, more explaining that my brain was just kind of ready to explode. Judith was so wonderful and her tips were so great that I know you guys got a lot out of the episode. So I guess I'm sort of apologizing, but not meaning to. A long time ago, this is, I'm almost positive this happened before I got sober, which is about seven and a half years ago. Yay. My Aunt Betty, who is one of my big fans, and she said she's going to try to tune in tonight. She sent me a poem. She is a really special lady. She's my mom's sister. And she was married to my Uncle Rick, who reminds me a lot of my husband, Rob. Just a quiet, gentle man. And he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, I think in his mid-30s. And she was an OR nurse, and she eventually had to quit her job and nurse my Uncle Rick. um, which she's one of the strongest people I know, and so she tends to be really in tune with the stuff that I now like to share. And she had written me again. I think I'm almost positive it was before I got sober, but I was still having my health problems, probably not made better by the booze. Um, but she wrote down a poem for me and she mailed it to me. And it's probably something you guys are familiar with. But if you're not, let me introduce it to you. It's called Invictus, and it's by William Ernest Henley. I'll read it first and then I'll tell you a little bit more. But I find it really think about the words and how it may apply to your life. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters, this is my favorite, it matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. It gets me every time. And I know when she mailed it to me and when I opened it, I had never seen it before. And I just thought it was so beautiful. I am the captain of my soul. Yes, I am. And that's part of what, we can control in our lives. Not always easy, but we can control maybe not our destiny or what happens to us, but we can control how we feel about it. We can control how we respond to it. And you are the master of your soul. What I didn't know is the background behind this poem, which I found even more interesting. I'll tell you right now. He's a Victorian era English poet. In 1875, he wrote this. And it says, when Henley was 16 years old, his left leg required amputation due to complications arising from TB. In the early 1870s, after seeking treatment for problems with his other leg at Margate, he was told that it would require a similar procedure. He instead chose to travel to Edinburgh in August 1873 to enlist the services of the distinguished English surgeon Joseph Lister, who was able to save Henley's remaining leg after multiple surgical interventions on the foot. While recovering in the infirmary, he was moved to write the verses that became the poem Invictus, a memorable evocation of Victorian stoicism, the stiff upper lip of self-discipline and fortitude in adversity, which popular culture rendered into a British character trait. Invictus remains a cultural touchstone. It's also, if you've heard of Prince Harry's Invictus Games, where he takes, it's kind of like an Olympics for people that were wounded in war. That's the Invictus Games. He founded that and he named them the Invictus Games because of this poem. So I find that really beautiful. And then I was remembering, so thank you, Aunt Betty, for turning me onto this beautiful, beautiful poem that I forget about it once in a while, but when I read it, it really just knocks the wind out of me. The second one, I knew there was another poem. It wasn't this poem, but there was something else. And I'm not sure where I originally heard it, but it's by Teddy Roosevelt. And I'm going to see if I can share the screen here. Not sure if you'll be able to read it, but we'll try. Let's see. How does this look? Let me turn off my thing. All right, that's a little better. It's actually from a speech that Teddy Roosevelt, a 35-page speech called Citizenship in a Republic, and that he gave in Paris on April 23rd, 1910. And the part that really speaks to me is at the end, but here's the entire thing. It says, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. But because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, right, Campbell? Striving. Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory or defeat. Great one, right? Love it. And what that poem's basically talking about, I'm sure you noticed, is that, we may have people criticizing us, but the people that matter are the ones that are in the arena, so to speak, and doing things. You are doing things about your life, or trying your hardest. That's, the bloody and marred, that is the victor of the games, right? It's the person that's in the arena, not the person up in the stands. So I thought I'd share that with you too. It says the man in the arena tells us that the man we should praise is the man who's out there fighting the big battles, even if those battles end in defeat. So I wanted to share both of those poems with you guys today, because all of the tips we're going to be talking about, and already have talked about a little bit, are us being in the arena and trying to make our lives better. What tends to be at the root of our darkness, I would say, in my opinion, is worry and fear. And maybe they're the same thing. I'm not sure. I said a couple weeks ago, not last week, I wasn't saying much last week, but the freedom to me is freedom of fear. And of course, I'll never be completely free of fear, but I can strive to be free of fear. And so that's what I do. And a lot of these tips that we talk about are kind of making it easier for us to be free of fear. So let's go to some more comments. I saw there were a bunch coming in. See, Kathy Johnston, the pandemic, politics, the loss of my son, and a dear friend. She's got the same dear friend as I do. And R.I.P. Kevin, finances, health issues, missing my daughters and grandkids. Oh my God, the list goes on. Yeah, I would say, Kathy, you win. You have had a year beyond years, and yet I saw you yesterday at Flush the Format, and you had a smile on your face, and we were laughing. And you are the man in the arena, my friend. You make me cry. You're my superhero. I mean it. Arlene's here. Hi, Arlene. I know, and everyone in my family knows that I need time on my own. I need quiet time to do what I need to thrive. That is very true, and I'm glad your family is respectful of that. They probably need it too. I don't know. I mean, not from you. Not that you're not delightful and they wouldn't want to spend time with you, but you know what I mean, I think. Kathy says, I need to focus on blessings and the beauty of the world. Absolutely. Shelley Kramer. Hi, Shelley. Praying and a blessing journal. Very good. I had that on my list too. Gratitude journal. We have several side groups within Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain that were on my list of things to talk about tonight because they apply. Doing new things, trying new things. We do have a journaling club, the Attitude of Gratitude Journaling Club, and Deborah Immer Scott runs it beautifully. And each month she has a different challenge that you can it's optional for you to take part in it or not. And it's usually answering questions about gratitude. You can write things down in your journal or just write it in the group. But it's a journaling, if you've never done it, is a really, really great tip. It helps to get your feelings out, your worries out. And that really does feel a lot better, believe it or not. Word Mary, Invictus is beautiful. I don't know if you had heard it before, but I'm glad you think so too. Mary Ann Dornbos. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Hi, Julia. Pat, when I went through my dark days after losing my wife and soulmate to breast cancer, I fought my way out of the weeds by unleashing my passions and finding new things to be passionate about. I try to do random acts of kindness to strangers and friends on a daily basis. Bless you and the entire group. Much love to all. Oh, you're making me cry, Pat. Thank you very much. I know you went through a hard time a couple of years ago. Pat is actually Rory the Wonder Cat's daddy. She came from the home. Pat was the male who was taking in stray cats and keeping the pregnant ones in until they had kittens and giving away their kittens. So we got Rory the Wonder Cat, who she is the man in the arena, believe it or not. She runs our household. And Pat and I both turn out to be major foodies. So we talk a lot on Facebook about that. Arlene says, oh, they need a rest from my constant charm. I can be a lot. I think you and I are a lot alike. I know my family needs a break from me. That is faux show. Hi, Mary. Nice to see you. Very, very nice. Glad you're here. Is there another one? Oh, I had a knee replacement, lost my sister, and had open heart surgery during COVID. Wow. Now I was invited here by my friend Julia. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. I'm glad that you found us. I was going to put down, well, the name of our group is Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. Let's see if I can get this here. Let's see if I can get this. I can share it. Very nice to meet you. We would love to have you in the group if you are interested. Let's see, share screen, Chrome tab. Let's see if this is it. Here it is. Nope, let me get rid of my thingy. Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. We have about 5,400 members now, and we're a positive pain group, believe it or not. Everybody in there is a superhero to me because we're a non-complaining group. Although we do offer live chats twice a week where you can talk about whatever you want, because we do become very much like a family. And then we have this broadcast on Thursday nights where you can also say whatever you want. This is a place where it's a safe place where you can come and discuss and heal and be with like-minded people. It's really a wonderful place. And Kathy says, welcome, Mary. Yes, welcome. We'd love to have you. All right, let me stop sharing the screen here. Welcome to you. Oh, you're being welcomed. You better join the group now. I'm teasing, of course. So some of the other things I wrote down. Patience is being tried during these times. I mean, it's one of those years where kind of like you're just waiting for the next thing to happen. Am I right? Because everything happens. I like Kathy, I lost my best friend in March. We were like sisters. We were very, very close. And of course, the pandemic. But there had been some good things. My sister, who was living with Soupy and her kids, Lindsay, Alexander, McKenna, and Campbell, and her husband, Eric, they moved back here to New Jersey from Turkey. And they had been in Singapore before that. So they were gone for 7 years. Like 3 days after I got out of rehab, they left. And I've missed them a lot. So that has been a really positive thing in my life. But there's been so many negative things. And right now in particular, my physical health and emotional health is not great. But I got some great news today with a possible treatment option. So I'm a very happy camper today because I'm hoping that somebody is going to figure me out. I guess that's all I need to say about that. We don't need to know more about that. And the stress, I don't know about you guys, but the stress is goes hand in hand with the worry. And once we have that stress, it's like a vicious cycle. You can't stop thinking about it. You can't stop worrying. I found this great quote about worrying. It's not one of the typical ones that I've seen. Let me see if I can find it here. There we go. Worrying is like meditating on the negative. That's good, right? I had never heard that one before. And it's true. Worrying is like meditating on the negative. Who needs to meditate on that? But yet we do. You know, one of the things that we do in the group at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time every night is I put up a post that says, name 3 things that you've done well today. And that was recommended in this book that I was reading called Option B by Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook. And basically it's just because when our days happen, we tend to the negative. We just do. Our brains are built that way to veer off to the negative. And then if you go to sleep on that, you're not necessarily going to sleep with great thoughts in your head. So we put in the group, name 3 things you've done well today, and they can be small. It can be you took a shower, you made a phone call, you know, because those things can be huge depending on where you're at in your life. Maybe it's something big, you know, it's great, but something small is really, really important too. I know Monica Elaine loves that, and we've only been doing that one for about a year. But we do all sorts of things throughout the day in the group that just try to help us to strive for happiness and for a better life. Every morning we do, what do we call them? Intentions. I've mentioned this many times, but for those of you who are new, I put up a post usually saying the national days that are today. Like today was, I don't even remember today, but yesterday was National Coffee Day. So just as kind of a goof, I put up the days that it is, and then ask people to share with us your intentions for the day. And we use intentions versus goals because I believe that intentions is a lot less, it's less stress on us. Because when you set a goal, although they're great, when you live with a chronic illness or emotional illness, that could change. Your condition could change within 5 minutes. So what you had intended, what your goal was 5 minutes ago, now is not doable. So if we call them intentions, they're just that, they're intentions. So you can say, I intend to take a shower today. I intend to do a broadcast today. I intend to call my mom today. And maybe you do them all, maybe you do one, but they're a lot less stress and they're very, very popular. We get a lot of people that contribute to that one every day. And then what do we have? We have a group question of the day, and it's always geared towards the positive, more about what our abilities are, what we can do, versus what we've lost, if we've lost any abilities, and many of us have. And that abilities can be taken in so many different ways, you know, abilities, you know, spiritual, mental, physical, you know, all of our abilities are important and they go away as we age already. But if you live with a chronic condition, they start to go away possibly quicker. So we do that. After the group question, we do meditation of the day, or we call them breath breaks. I put one up, a video from YouTube every day. I try to do it every day, usually 5 minutes or less. And that helps us to concentrate on our breathing. And in my research for this episode, and striving and thriving, not just surviving, the tips for getting rid of stress had a lot to do. Everything I read said, breathe, just breathe, meditate, not on the negative, meditate, and be in the present moment. Because when we worry, we're not in the present moment, are we? We're thinking about the future, what could happen, you know, what my abilities will be in 10 years, what might happen at the end of the week. And that's not a healthy thing to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a healthy thing to stew on, right? And it makes us start worrying. That's where the vicious cycle comes in, trying to get rid of this worry. But if we do these breath breaks or meditations, and they can be very simple. I keep them simple in the group, but 5 minutes or less, just getting comfortable however you are, whether it's sitting or lying down, and then just concentrating on your breath, which sounds, maybe to you it sounds ridiculous, but if you think about it, if you go right now to where your breath is are they shallow breaths? Because I find myself most of the time I'm taking shallow breaths. I'm not taking full, deep, diaphragmatic breaths. And that's what we need. That's what we need in order to stay in the present with ourselves and, make ourselves having a beautiful moment now. So if you don't do the breath breaks, I highly encourage you to do them. I put them up every day just to give people extra ideas. I try to do a different one every day, different ideas on how you can do it. Or maybe you have a favorite way already that you like to do every day. Highly recommend those. What else did I have written down? Oh, who you hang out with. There's a saying called energy vampires, and you know who they are, and they may be very best friends of yours, family members. Energy vampires are just people that suck the energy out of you. No need to list who they are, but you know who they are. And we're not in a place to afford having our energy sucked out by a vampire. They don't mean to do it. If you're an empath, like Judith Orloff was saying last week, we tend to be easy to talk to for energy vampires and everybody else. We're easy to talk to because we're empaths, and isn't that a beautiful thing? It is. But it's not always healthy for us. And, you could say, well, I don't mind. And I say that myself. I don't mind. She really needed to talk or whatever. But we have to watch ourselves first and foremost. And I realize that I'm saying this with my husband in the other room, who's going to say, yeah, funny one, because I don't always take care of myself more than everyone else. When Amy was alive, I definitely concentrated more on taking care of her because I loved her. I still love her. And, she was in a pretty sick way and I wanted to help her. But now I'm trying to concentrate more on it. Does that count? Okay. Let's go to some more questions we've got here. Oh, let's see. Kathy Johnston's back. I also gained a new friend and a blessing. You. This is true. Kathy and I met. She was a friend of Amy's also from years before I met Amy. And did I keep it up? Hang on. She made me this cup. I think I've said that one or two times during this broadcast too. But she makes these wonderful products. She makes T-shirts and cups, hoodies, things like that. So Amy got this for me for my birthday one year, and I love it. That's why I display it. And it turned out Kathy made it, but I didn't know Kathy. I didn't even know she was in my group, to be honest with you. Amy probably told me, and I forgot, to be honest. But it was after Amy passed away, and I put the post in the group about her passing away on March 19th. And Kathy's reaction was obviously one of somebody who was very close to her as well. And, we had a couple of God moments that I call, where things were kind of meant to happen. But anyway, we gained a new friend out of something that it was very painful to both of us. But it's a good thing that I gained you as a friend, Kathy. I agree. Arlene says, I find being open and honest and grateful with whomever I have the pleasure of meeting. This can be a lot for some people, but I look to be the one person they might meet that day who makes a difference. With just a smile or showing gratitude, this has helped me to strive and to thrive. Perfect. And Pat, my friend Pat, had said this a while ago too. Those random acts of kindness, if and when you can do them, boy, they make us feel really good, don't they? And they sure make the people that you do the random act of kindness to feel great. I tend to be, not that I've been in a restaurant anytime within the past year, probably not since February, but I'm always extra, what's the word? Extra complimentary to my servers, as long as they were good servers, which most of them are. I'll say, I usually say something like, you're really good at what you do. And the smiles that I've gotten, like just kind of like the regular faces that turn into big, big smiles after that comment, I just feel so great. And it was so easy, and not a lie, but who gets told that on a daily basis when they're working really hard, right? That's something I love to do. And we're working on something for the group, a product that we will be able to give away to people when we see fit, working on it with the other moderators, and it's pretty exciting. Hopefully we'll get that going soon. Kathy says, I love this topic tonight. Thank you. I love it too. I was looking back at our topics from the past. I have a little list here, which isn't a surprise because I'm kind of like a stationary addict. I was looking over the topics, and on episode 3, is it episode 3? Yes, episode 3, which was when I interviewed Dr. Bruce Singer. Our topic was remaining grateful during difficult times. And it was a great topic. It still holds up, of course. I was back in April. Things have changed a lot since April, I would say, don't you? Things in the world, the pandemic still going on, people having to make really big life decisions with their job and things like that. So, doing it again, but in a different way. I think we were pretty much talking about the pandemic back then. Now we're talking about whatever you need to be, whatever you need it to be, whatever difficult times you may be going through, or maybe you're not, and that's great to you. That is wonderful, but you do, and you do. Arlene says, you are the best. My mom's here. Looking good tonight, Lauren. Thank you, Mom. Mimi, that's very nice. I have a very supportive family. I am the luckiest girl on the planet. Thanks for tuning in, Mom, Dad. I assume you're there too. Thank you, guys. And Campbell, I was really looking, I don't know if you're still watching, but I would like to hear your thoughts on this topic because I know you've got them. So anyway, reducing the energy vampires in your life. If you obviously getting rid of a friend isn't necessarily what I think you should do, but maybe reducing the time you spend with them or the energy that you let them suck out of you. So that is a definite tip, and the breathing is so important. The 3 things that you've done well today is a great thing to do too. I'm going to sound like a big commercial now, but for those of you that live with a chronic illness, joining our group, Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain, has all of these tips all wrapped in one on a daily basis, and you can use them when you need them and not use them when you don't. It's not something that you have to participate in everything. So all these things we do throughout the day. There's a good night post. There's, what else did I miss? 3 things, meditation. Oh, and our daily gratitude day. Our daily gratitude that Linda Edwards puts up for us every day. And it's a simple question, what are you grateful for today? And some days it comes very easily and you can't start coming out of your mouth. And other days it's not so easy. Even for me, the gratitude queen, there are some days where it's weird. I can't think of a thing. I know I have them. My family, I'm going to go out on a limb and say my health, which may sound wacky, but like Campbell said earlier, I know that it can be worse. Oh, look, Pop-Up is here too. Hey, Dad. I love you guys. And we've got a comment from Heidi. I commented to a bus driver that I appreciated her lowering the bus for handicapped, elderly, and people with little kids without being asked. Her reaction made me suspect that no one thanked her for that. Oh, Heidi, that's beautiful. That is just beautiful. And, it costs us nothing, right? It costs us absolutely nothing. And you know how good you would feel if you got a comment like that from somebody. People don't get recognized the way that they should always. Um, I actually, with my job here in AOG, I actually get recognized a lot because it's a group of recognition. So I am also very lucky in that I get members all the time telling me how appreciated I am. And I don't take that for granted. So thank you guys. And I am grateful for our moderators who help us do what we want to do. I couldn't do it without you, that's for sure. Arlene, setting limits for the time spent and energy offered that those vampires, let me read this again. Setting limits for the time spent and the energy offered that those vampires take from you is the key. Agreed. Although easier said than done. I always think that I'm going to do this and set a limit. I have every intention of doing the limit, and I'm not that great at it. Sometimes I am, then I feel bad. Silly. I'm a work in progress. I'm striving to thrive, Campbell. Speaking of which, I definitely have energy vampires in my life, and sometimes I think that I am an energy vampire. No way, Jose. When you don't feel energized, you tend to look to others for energy, which can sometimes seem like you are trying to suck out their energy. So interesting, Soupy. When you don't feel energized, you tend to look to others for energy, which can sometimes seem like you are trying to suck out their energy. Guys, she's 14 years old. She is a smart girl. And surprisingly interested in this stuff. Campbell, thank you for that. That is definitely something I need to think about. You're absolutely right. And look who's here, Lindsay Lou. Hi, Aunt Lauren. The whole family's watching. They watch on this humongous screen in their basement. So hopefully my skin looks good tonight. Linda Canalicchio says, as you talked about worry is living in the future and not present, I thought about how often I think about the past also not living in present. I have to remind myself daily. I say to myself, don't go back, Linda, don't go back there. Great point, Linda, great point. We often go back to the past and try to think, did I cause this? If I did cause this, what others may think of me. Why did I do this? And that can be an energy vampire right there, right? Is yourself. Sucking the energy out of you by focusing on the past or worrying about the future. That's a great point, Linda. Thank you very, very much. Let's see what else I had. Our gratitude of the day. Being grateful, it's no surprise to most of you out there, I'm sure, but showing your gratitude for something, no matter how small it seems, is so important to our everyday life. It's not taking our lives for granted, and not everybody has a great life. We all have struggles and difficulties in our lives. I think every person does, some more than others. But even if you're not feeling grateful, there's studies out that say if you're not feeling grateful, say what you're grateful for anyway. Fake it till you make it. They actually say that works. If you just, you can write things down in a gratitude journal, 1 thing every day, 3 things every day. A lot of people write things down before they go to bed. So they're left with these positive things in their mind versus the negative things that may have happened to you during the day because we veer to that negative. So being grateful is very, very important. And you'll see now out, in bookstores or whatever, gratitude is pretty hot right now. I'd like to say I discovered it, but obviously I didn't. But I will never take for granted the blessings in my life. I've gone through some really, really dark times. My family has all been there for me. some really good friends who've been there with me, who I am just unbelievably grateful for. And then what I learned from going to this chronic pain program I was at with Bruce Singer running it, the things I learned kind of helped form AOG. I took it kind of a step more with gratitude and not complaining, and I wanted it to be a place where you could go, since everything's negative when you look on chronic pain groups, and they just are. And look, I belong to some of those groups, especially newer things that I've been diagnosed with. Those groups are important to me. I find out information in those groups, so I would never say don't do them. But our group is strictly for, it's positive, it's motivating, it's it's all of us kind of pulling together, and we don't say what we have. I mean, at the Flush the Format we do, but we never share with each other what we have, because I feel, and the moderators agree, that by keeping our pain on an even keel and not comparing is one of the worst things that you can do, is comparing your pain to somebody else. And I've heard a couple of you, and actually me too, saying, I know my pain could be worse. And I do. And that is very true. And it's good to know that. But on a daily basis, if you're in a group where I think I may have said it last week, like Amy had congestive heart failure and diabetes type 1, and she needed a heart transplant. So if people really knew that, they did, I think, towards the end, but if people really knew that, they could never really take part much in the group, because they would feel that they're not worthy to. And that's not true. The way we are all affected by our pain differs. If you have a condition and maybe your pain is exactly the same today as it was yesterday, but the way you emotionally react to it is completely different. Maybe today it's just really giving you a hard time. That's okay, and that's normal. So we stay away from the comparison part, again, except for our live chats. That is necessary if people need to share, about stuff in their lives. It's important. Venting is definitely important, and venting to people who understand what you go through is even more important. We almost don't even need to share what our illnesses are. And I think in Flush the Format, we don't get many that actually do share, now that I think about it. They share with, about their feelings and all that, because, when you get diagnosed with something, or you get injured, or whatever your situation is, at least for me, I've seen a lot of doctors. I've never had a doctor say anything about joining a support group. Can you believe that? It's almost unbelievable to me now that I've been running this group for 5.5 years, actually almost 6 years now. It's unbelievable to me, because I think most of you would agree with me that often the emotional pain is worse than the physical pain. You can be so down in a dark hole of depression, feeling alone. Feeling alone is a big deal, or isolation. And I've found that when I isolate, I tend to isolate even more. It's weird. I mean, my family could all be around me, and yet I feel completely alone. And nothing that you guys did at all. You all make me feel wonderful. It's just me not feeling completely understood, I guess. And so that's why AOG, one of the many reasons why AOG is so important to me. Linda, she says, your niece is so wise for her age. No kidding, isn't she? She's my graphic designer. Lindsay McKenna and Campbell made my opening, and I love it so much. Arlene's back. Humor helps me when I'm struggling to thrive, when I can laugh or even grin. I see that the moment I am having a hard time with from a new vantage point. If you guys were here a few weeks ago, when was it? It was 1, 2, 3, maybe a month ago. Maybe it was longer ago. It was more like a month and a half ago. I actually had Arlene, who's a member of our group, one of our moderators, on the show as my guest, because she's quite possibly the funniest person I have ever met. And she has a way of saying things that just keep you in stitches, because she's just so funny. And quite often it's exactly the laughter that you need. And she's very good at, I don't want to say looking on the bright side, but with the stuff that she's got going on, and of course it's big stuff too, she will make a crack about it, and it kind of releases the tension, I think, don't you? I tend to do that myself, where it's actually, this part's kind of funny, I'll talk about a new symptom I'm having or my condition or something, and because of all you guys and being able to talk about it, I find them funny. I mean, I know they're not really funny, but some of the things are just kind of funny. And I'll make a crack about them when I'm with my family, and they look at me kind of horrified because I guess, they don't think it's funny because their loved one is struggling with this. And I understand that, but it's just kind of like, why is nobody laughing at my very funny joke? And I understand. Linda says, yes, comparing our pain of our life is not good. Isn't it funny? These are all things that we've come up with in the 5.5 years or so of AOG. We've learned these things about ourselves. I am not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one. I'm a teacher and a seeker of knowledge of the human experience. I've always liked to know why people act the way they do, and what, if anything, we can do to change it. Because just living with our pain and not doing anything to try to make our lives happier is really it's sad and it's depressing. Taking a walk, a couple of people mentioned taking a walk if you're able. If you're in like a wheelchair or something, maybe you can take that outside. I don't do this enough, and I could. I don't go out much into public for a variety of reasons, but I don't go for walks. My daughter goes on a nice long walk every day. Nature and becoming one with nature really helps us to stay in that present moment too, which we desperately need. Pamela Creighton, like everything in life, pain is relative, and I agree, comparing is not productive. For me, that includes telling myself it could be worse. I honor and don't dwell where I am at, just as I honor the good things in my life. Beautiful, Pamela. Thank you for sharing that with us. And Arlene, excellent topic and wonderful host. Thank you for this show today. You're welcome. We are at the hour already. Let me just make sure I didn't forget anything. I'm going to end. Something of Judith's, since I didn't give, don't yell at me, people, since I didn't get to give her the time I wanted to do another reading from her wonderful book, Thriving as an Empath. Gwyn Anajar, if you're watching, the copy that you won last week, I have here for you. I think we may be getting together tomorrow, which would be nice. Social distancing, of course. The reading on October 27th says, pain is different from suffering. And I have said this, I say this, and I don't know that people necessarily agree with me, but I've always said that suffering is a state of mind. Pain, this part I didn't make up. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. I think that was said by the Buddha. Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. And I agree with that. I don't ever say suffering, or if I do, I catch myself and I say struggling, because I can have, some human suffering, of course, is natural, but I can do many of these tools that we've talked about tonight and make sure that I'm only suffering and not, only struggling and not suffering. I'm striving to be thriving. So let me read this by Judith. Pain is different from suffering. Pain refers to uncomfortable physical or emotional sensations. Chinese medical practitioners say that pain is a blockage of qi, your vital life force. Suffering, on the other hand, is your response to pain, how you think and feel about the sensations. Hey, she copied me. But her book is out and mine is not. A certain amount of pain is unavoidable in life, But as the saying goes, suffering is optional. She knows the Buddha saying too. It is amplified by the stories you tell yourself regarding the pain. Your fearful, untrue thoughts can be your worst enemy. For instance, my back pain will never improve, as compared to this is just a temporary setback and I will be better than ever when I recover. Perfect example. Suffering is also intensified by resisting painful sensations. Tensing up makes it worse. So true. Don't you guys agree with that? When you're all tensed, when you're in pain, it completely makes it worse. It makes your stress worse too. But doing your best to relax and breathe into the pain will lessen your suffering. So the more you can still your mind and surrender to spirit, the less discomfort you will experience. Here's a formula to remember. And I had not heard this one before. Over control plus overthinking equals pain. Over control plus overthinking equals pain. Great one. In your physical and emotional body. So let go and think less to minimize the suffering you experience. And her intention for that day says, when I'm in pain, I will be gentle with myself. I will not focus on fear or imagine the worst in a situation. I will keep a peaceful mind to limit my suffering. Beautiful way to end. I want to thank you all for joining in. This, for anybody that you know that may want to see this and didn't get to join us live tonight, it will be recorded. It's being recorded right now and should be available on the site that you're seeing it on as soon as we're done. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for being loyal viewers and friends and who helped me study the human experience and try to better myself. Peace and love, gang. Have a good night, and I hope your pain is I hope your pain is light and that your suffering is non-existent. Take care, gang.